And I'm back with more nonverbal cues of socioeconomic status. Hi, I'm Dr. Anna Call-Schmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from low-income backgrounds. I shared a video last week on what were the cues that gave away the low-income backgrounds for white men from a study that I conducted for my master's thesis. And now I'm going to share a study that I didn't run, but I found helpful on what are communication cues that give away a lower SES or a higher SES background. So researchers at the University of California conducted a study where they recorded a 60-second video of two students interacting with each other. Some of the students were from high SES backgrounds and some of them were from low SES backgrounds. And then they showed these videos to other students who did not know the two students in the video. And the students watching the video could predict with pretty good accuracy which status each of those students came from. And what gave it away? Something the researchers called engagement versus disengagement cues. The person from the low SES background tended to do more engagement cues, things like nodding their head, laughing when the person said something, raising their eyebrows, and gazing at them, looking at them when they're talking. The person from a higher SES background did more disengagement cues, things like fiddling around with objects, doodling, or self-grooming while the person's talking. And the researchers said this is consistent with other literature showing that people who are from higher status backgrounds and have more power tend to communicate with other people in a way that does not engage the audience as much. Things like not pausing for interactions or interrupting them, they're more likely to interrupt them. Does this mean people from low SES backgrounds never interrupt? No. Does it mean people from high SES backgrounds can't be good listeners and don't look at people? No. This is a scientific study that looks at odds and probabilities. So take with it what you will. I find it very interesting, and it's consistent with findings from my research, such as that one of the unwritten rules of work is that as you move up into higher status backgrounds, there's a shift towards more independence than interdependence. And so it makes sense that because people from working class communities tend to be more interdependent, that they would engage more with other people because they're used to working together, and that's more of a working class value. While in more independent environments that are usually higher SES, that people would not engage as much because they're more focused on being individualistic. I'm not saying if that's a good or a bad thing. That's just consistent with the literature. Now, this study didn't look at what was the immigration status of these people, what was the race, what was the gender, what were other identifying factors. And if I were to do a study like this, that's what I would be interested in, seeing how these all intersect. For example, I always get comments from people who are neurodivergent on how my work on working class seems similar to their experience. And I think that would be very interesting to look at as a variable in a study like this as well.